So I'll start off by saying, if someone says all art is inherently political, and by that they just mean that all art was created within the geopolitical circumstances that were present when it was made, fine, that is true. But like no shit. But yeah, I'm not really here to contest that fact. My problem is more with the insistent attitude that this fact is somehow important and relevant to all art. But fundamentally, what I take issue with is this word inherently. If you ask people to explain what is inherent about examples, they will then go on to make an interpretation of the art. And in doing so, they debunk their own argument. Because how are you demonstrating the inherence if you're just drawing interpretations? When it comes to certain pieces of art, politics is entirely irrelevant, and you'd have to be making huge reaches that come off as really absurd to try to defend the position. I think that saying all art can be interpreted through a political lens is fine, entirely true as well. And also, I think it does enough to demonstrate the place politics has within art. But they can't settle for that. They want their narrow-minded worldview to pervade all things. You can offer them something like a kid's drawing, and they'll throw out an earnest argument as to why it is political. I brought forth to someone once the example of someone just drawing a singular line, and they said that it's political because it was drawn with the intention of avoiding all politics. And I mean, in this example, sure, I have brought this up to find something that avoids politics. But what about other contexts? What if man just likes drawing lines? And on top of this, again, you are drawing an interpretation of that line. You don't know what the fuck the artist meant when he drew that line. Maybe the artist didn't even know. So how is politics inherent within it at all? I can appreciate all art is political as a tool, as a lens to view art through. But countless times I've talked to people who insist that it is not just a lens, but a concrete rule that all art abides by. I feel like it devalues art when you insist to look at it in this one way, no matter how redundant it is to do so. A lot of the time it's genuinely like, who cares? Art offers so much more than that. It's the same sort of shit to me as when people insist that the Matrix is really some trans metaphor. Just really eye-roll inducing stuff, when what's already there is really cool anyway. And you know, it's cool to make your theories and shit, but it's just obnoxious and useless to insist that your theory is the main course, that it was the creator's intention. When I was a youth, I drew this picture of Satanist Teletubbies. This drawing came to be because I started drawing the pattern on this glass I had next to me. And then as I was drawing it, I fleshed out an idea, and that idea turned out to be Satanist Teletubbies. This is a process I used to use a lot. I would go in not knowing what it would end up as, but just starting by drawing some common household item. Now if you didn't have any of this context and you just looked at the drawing and tried to draw a political meaning out of it, you could say something like businesses which profit from the malleable or undiscerning minds of children are evil. Or maybe you would draw that the Teletubbies had some kind of rebellion and broke free from their slavery where they were forced to entertain children in the hills of wherever the fuck the Teletubbies are from. Or on the other hand, if you did know the context of what is behind this drawing, maybe you would say that the creator is pretty well off, that he has a glass to drink from, while in third world countries, children are dehydrating. Either way, they're fucking schizophrenic interpretations that could only be held firmly by biased minds. I hear the same people preach in other contexts that the intention of the artist matters less, and that it's more important how the art is being interpreted. But then when it comes to this argument, they want their interpretation to be inherent. I have drawn a political meaning from the interpretation that I completely made up about the art, and now this is inherent within the art itself. They want to have their cake and eat it too. It just blatantly doesn't make sense on a logical level, and I think that's why it annoys me so much. You might be thinking, yo Catman, why are you being so autistic and pedantic about this shit? Well, because these men are dying on the hill of some shit that makes no sense if you think about it for even 30 seconds. I'm trying to save them from looking like a bunch of dickhead. That's what we do at the Catman Show. We spread awareness about things that make you look like a dickhead. That's why I started this channel. If you have a reasonable view on this art isn't inherently political shit, then I'm chill with you. But if you're dying on this hill, then I have a message for you. Listen. Everything in the world gets recycled. So when the dinosaurs were hit with that meteor, they went into the ground and they became the soil. They became the earth and the rain and the clouds. And what has been recycled from them is inside human beings too. What I'm saying is that dinosaurs are inherent in all things. This is an actual concrete fact. And even though it's way more interesting than the idea of all art being inherently political, you don't see me banging on about it all the time. That's what you man are doing. You're doing something as dumb as that. Anyway, that's about it. Subscribe to the Catman Show, like the video, comment, bye.